Hey everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Marjolaine. I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. As you can probably hear in my accent, I speak French. So I just hope that my English will be okay. So, obviously, in this video, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about why this movie Joker impacted me so much. And as you can see, I think I really like the movie. And reasons why I cosplay the character so much, so often. Like what are for me the meanings in the movie, but also the links that I'm making with my own personal life. The way that I reacted at the cinema when I saw the movie. Um, Also, how I want painting from Gary, well, not Gary, but the actor that made Gary League. I won the contest. How after it really saved me in a lot of ways, the movie itself, but also how I use this tool, how I transform myself with a lot of different things, makeup included, um, how I challenge myself, um, and also mostly like when I saw that um, Phoenix was coming to Montreal, and how I met him. But this is completely another subject that I will keep from for another time. So for now, the only thing I can say at first is trigger warning, because there will be mentions of abuse, severe depression, suicidal tendencies. There will be like many different type of abuse, and also spoiler alert, because obviously I'm gonna talk about the movie and how my life is a lot of the same in details. So basically I was mostly born into severe poverty. My father was there physically, mentally, yes and no. I was mostly absent, scared of my mother. My mother was mostly the one who was very physically, sexually, mentally, any way possible abusive. And it really took a toll on me. Um, from as far as I can remember, I always felt alone my whole life. Mostly after I became a people pleaser, because that's how I was used to behave with my mother, and I was always scared of conflicts and just saying the opposite as her. So I was making sure that everything was okay in all time. She was also always asking if she was pretty. She was always in need of my approval, and I didn't have a mother really because I had to behave like a mother. My mother was mostly the one who was very physically, sexually, mentally, any way possible abusive. Yeah, and it really took a toll on me. Um, from as far as I can remember, I always felt alone. I became a people pleaser, because that's how I was used to behave with my mother, and I was always scared of conflicts and just saying the opposite as her. So I was making sure that everything was okay in all time, anytime. For as long as I can remember, she always was putting me down. She was telling me that I shouldn't have been born, that I was a mistake, that I was too fat, that I was too skinny, that I was not enough this or too much, was too much of this. Um, she forced me at 16 years old to go to her friend's place. There's not a lot that I can remember. It's really blurry, but yeah, I remember some seconds of the incident. You know, in order to cope with the reality that was mine, the harsh reality, um, you know, I was going home and I was getting abuse, any kind of abuse, from my parents, and I couldn't be able to study because I was going through severe agoraphobia, social phobia too. Um, so I was going back to school the other morning, and I had to go through severe bullying that made me sick from both sides, and I just the teachers weren't doing anything, so they just sent me to the cafeteria to do my homework for the whole time. So they never resolved the situation. But in order to cope with that reality at 16 years old, and that's the age that my mother forced me to go to sleep with her friends. And this is blurry, but I can remember that I was in the bed with my mother next to me and the guy on top. And it happened a few times. And if you ask me why it happened, and if you ask me if it was for money, no. I'm not saying that it's excusing my mama. My mother really suffered a lot, and she went through severe bullying herself. She never resolved any of that. So she was really always asking me to prove her that she was beautiful, to prove her that, like, to tell her that she was beautiful, that she, like, to make sure she was not fat enough, but I couldn't tell her, like, like anything wrong, because I had to act like a mother with my own mother, and I was hypervigilant all the time because I was just too scared of confrontation, because confrontation had, like, as a price, violence. And the amount of times that she was just telling me how ugly I am, or slutty I am, too fat or too tiny. But yeah, what I wanted to say is that she was in competition with me. She wanted to make sure that I was uglier than her. Yeah. Do you know the impact that it has on someone? Do you know the impact on someone that it has to get told that, ah, I don't know why I didn't get an abortion. You wouldn't be in front of me standing. Being told that by your mother. At 16 years old, when she forced me with a knife to go at her front place, and when she was beating me over and over again, at one point, I was in danger and I wanted to kill her. I didn't. But I was really out of my mind. I didn't know what to do. In order to survive, I went to a friend's place. I was completely frozen. I'm trying sometimes to remember, but I know that if I don't remember, if it's because there's a reason. Right now, I'm still struggling, severely poor. I'm going through severe poverty, I don't have access to therapy, judge, and I still get told that I should be more positive. I still get told that I'm a downer because I'm expressing my own mental health issues. My mother was not like Penny with Arthur. She was not like, oh, you're born to be happy and make everyone laugh. No, I had to be smiling and not depressed in front of her, because if not, it was making her depressed and it was my fault. So I have been living with a lot of shame, hypervigilance, and my mother died in 2016 and she never apologized for what she did. I kind of broke down at that time because I was having the hope that she would say sorry. But on the phone I just told her, it's okay, I just want you to leave without pain. You suffered enough. So right now, it's been 15 years that I'm struggling with poverty, mental health, in a government that is neoliberalist, removing all the possibilities for me to improve myself, removing the possibilities of getting found for school. And people are just like, oh, but yeah, but you can ask friends to help you, you can ask family, and I don't have people who can help. Food banks are closing because they don't get enough funding from the government. And I have so much food allergies that I cannot get food from there. And I get him cut from welfare again. And I will have enough for rent and after. It's getting to the point that I'm spending days without eating. And I'm getting told, yeah, but you're in Canada, this cannot happen. You can go to the CLC, you can go to the hospital, and each one of the places that I've been told that I can go to, people don't know. And I'm tired of just defying myself when people are telling me it is not true. And all the resources, when you go on the websites, they're showing me, there's this resource or this one. When you go there, they cannot help you because there's not enough funding anymore. Food banks closing because there's too many people going, not enough service that they can offer. And I'm gonna be in severely huge trouble because of that. And I'm at a point that it's compromising so much my mental health, my physical health, that I don't know what to do anymore. And I created GoFundMe. I created a lot of stuff. But yeah, this movie saved me. It saved me because it's the same life. And when I first saw this movie at the theater, I was in total shock. I have the same emotion than him. The same anger, the same sadness, the same rage against the system. The Murray Franken show is one of the scenes that I relate to the most.
What it's like to be the other guy. You think men like Thomas Wayne ever think what it's like to be someone like me? To be somebody but themselves? They don't. They think that we'll just sit there and take it like good little boys, that we won't werewolf and go wild.
And when I saw the movie at the theater, I was in shock. And I felt the urge of remaking the scenes of the movie. And I didn't understand at that point. Until I finally understood, and I just told myself, this is because it's the mirror in front of my face. So I started role playing a lot of scenes. Most of the scenes are reflections of the same feelings or the same traumas that I've been going through and that I needed to resolve. And by role playing these scenes and still feeling a lot like him, not putting on a mask, because I feel so much like him, I am myself cosplaying, role playing. It's me, but I feel like I'm him at the same time. So in my role play also, I go beyond the movie and I dance, I cry, I laughed. I don't do only trauma stuff. But I also want to imagine, what if he got better? What if? And I create a lot of stories, of fan fictions, of stuff that's happening, like challenges that they go through. I always able to go through that. Is at Arkham Asylum, and after it's gonna be like a lot of stuff happening. And when I do that, he's evolving, and when he's evolving, I am too in my home life. Just because when you do that through roleplay, it transfers into your real life after. And I didn't even know that at the beginning, and it is a technique in psychotherapy called psychodrama.
Psychodrama it's a form of therapy where you put things into action instead of just talking about them. And what's important about that is that we experience things, trauma, happy things, with all of our senses. And psychodrama is a way that we can do some healing or expanding or exploring our world and our issues using all of our senses.
The makeup, I was comparing myself to so much cosplayers, and I was really finding that I was very ugly. My makeup was bad, and I just told myself, give yourself the challenge. I'm not good at makeup. I'm not good. Give yourself the challenge. You never finished a project in your life. You're good at painting. Prove yourself. You're good. Prove it to yourself. And so I started. I was really bitching myself. I was telling myself that it was ugly, the makeup. I did it over and over and over and over and over again. No tutorial. Just watching the pictures of Joaquin Phoenix when he was very skinny to do the role and try to remake the lines and practice almost every day, an hour per day in everywhere. And the music makes me cry so much because it's so beautiful, and the acting, the colors, the cinematography of this movie is just, for me, so perfection. There is not even 1 second for me of this movie that is not extremely beautiful. And also to be able to meet Joaquin Phoenix. For me, that was the most beautiful day of my entire life. I'm always scared to bother people, and I start talking to the security guy, and I was really emotional because I was seeing him from afar, and I was telling myself, you cannot meet him, come on, it's a Hollywood actor. And I saw him going outside with his assistant. So she came to see me, and she said, do you need something? And I felt, hearing that question, I said, oh my god. I said to myself, I bother them. Because it's my fear of bothering people all the time. But I was still very emotional, so I told her that I was just very emotional and that I wanted to talk to Joaquin, saving my life. And that I'm really struggling, and I really wanted to take a moment with him. And there's a specific scene wherein he walks slow motion exiting the subway, and the way that he walks and the look on his face is for me the scene that represents the most the confidence I want to have. And it works just by role playing it. It helps me standing my ground, putting my boundaries with people. It's magical. So his assistant says, "Oh, okay, I'll be back." So little did I know she was talking to Joaquin, and she said, "Get up, come on." Oh, okay. So we went to the clinic to test to see if I had the COVID, and I didn't. So she gave me a badge and she said, "So, okay guys, so her name is Marjolaine and she's gonna meet Joaquin Phoenix. She's gonna meet Joaquin." I was like, I'm gonna what? At this very moment, I did not dissociate it. I'm pretty sure I just died. And I felt exactly the same as Arthur meeting Murray, but it was a kind Murray. So I went on the bench and I sat, and I saw him coming. And he said, "How are you?" I said, "Well, I had worse days. How about you?" And he said, "Oh, well, you know, I saw you sitting there alone, and I wanted to go see you, but you would have been like, yeah, but who the fuck is that guy?" And I was laughing, and he said, "No, but that's true." And into my mind, I was like, I'm a girl, a nowhere girl. Yeah, I'm invisible in the corner, and you want to know who I am? What the fucking hell? What's happening? And I was saying, I just really wanted to thank you. And I was trying not to cry, but it was impossible. I was shaking. I was really, really, really touched, because I was like, is that a robot in front of me? Because it's too surreal. Tears like falling down my face over and over. And he came next to me, and he wrapped his arm around me the whole time that we talked for at least 30 minutes. And I just told him, I just really wanted to thank you, because you don't know, you did a movie that saved my life. Because you know, Arthur, what he run through, I have the same mother as Penny, on a lot way worse. And I always felt misunderstood. I always been different. I wasn't laughing on stage because I had an uncontrollable laughter, but I have severe panic attacks. I was severely bullied. I was a mascot, fireman dog. I've been a clown for as long as I can remember. I did the Clown Fest in New Jersey in 2011. And seeing you on screen, watching you on screen, the way that you show these emotions are so real, because you're so good at showing them. And you saved me. I felt less alone. And I explained all the rest, and he just burst into tears. He prepared me an avocado sandwich.
Done a one-off painting. It's of myself from the Joker movie.
Gary?
Yeah.
You were the only one that was ever nice to me.
The winner has been drawn, and it is Marjolaine Robichaud from Canada.
Of the world?
Here's a big sandwich.
Oh, thank you. Oh, they didn't give it to you?
No.
Oh. Because I never thought I would see you, so that's why I wrote the letter. Yeah, so I wrote a link because I explained if you want to explain. So I wrote a link to explain the process. But thank you.
If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me. I pass you every day and you don't notice me. But these guys, what, because Thomas Wayne went and cried about them on TV?
You have a problem with Thomas Wayne?
Yes, I do. Have you seen what it's like out there, Murray? Do you ever actually leave the studio? Everybody just yells and screams at each other.
Wow, she is such a good actress. These words, I take them so much as a compliment. The reality is that I never have to act, to force or prepare anything. Having the same life and past, I know, very deeply, what are these emotions and situations, it comes naturally.